Today is day 114 of the podcast, and when we look at Abraham, he inherited an earthly location that was really a shadow of his heavenly inheritance. When we read Genesis 13, verses 15 to 18, we see a promise for the earthly. For all the land which you see, I'll give to you and to your descendants forever. And I'll make your descendants as the dust of the earth, so that if anyone can number the dust of the earth, then your descendants can be numbered. Arise, walk about the land through its length and breadth, for I will give it to you. And then Abram moved his tent and came and dwelt by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. So here is the promise of the natural land, and then in Genesis 15:5, we see the Lord address him again and say, he took him outside and said, now look toward the heavens and count the stars if you're able to count them. And he said to him, so shall your descendants be. He gives them a picture of the dust of the earth as an inheritance of the earthly, and then the stars of the heaven is a picture of his heavenly, his spiritual inheritance. When Moses is building the tabernacle for worship for Israel, here is the instruction that God gives to him in Exodus 25:40. And see that you make them after the pattern for them, which was shown to you on the mountain. The Lord showed Moses a picture of what things were like in the heavens, and then he had an exact replica to make according to the pattern here on earth. So the natural was to speak of the spiritual. It was to be a shadow, a picture of what was true in the heavenly realm. If you go to 1 Corinthians 15, verses 40 through 49, and I'm not going to take the time to read it today, but I'd encourage you to go and just meditate on all the insight and revelation that Paul brings to bear here. He talks about the earthly and the natural being contrasted with each other, with the heavenly and the spiritual. He talks about how they correspond to each other and how one comes first and then the other is shown later. And this insight comes clear back to the promises made to Abraham. So Abraham, when he lives as an alien and a stranger because he's looking for that city that God builds. Abraham was able to recognize the difference between the shadow and the reality. And so here's today's question for you. How has an earthly example helped you understand a spiritual truth?